Hey everybody, Edo here, and this is Highlander, the Duel, live on Kickstarter and designed by Chris Castagnetto. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And I actually know Chris. He's local, and he also did Who Stole the Cookie and Three Wishes, which are two fantastic limited card games. And I was super curious because, one, who doesn't love the Highlander? Like, this is one of the great films, or at least the first was, from when I was a kid, and I like his stuff. So I was very curious. Oh, and this is like sort of a much more, you're clashing and trying to kill each other and decapitate each other. So not a cookie or wishes, right? Decapitation. But I was very curious to what it was like, and it's a two-player game, 15 minutes. It's certainly true to that. And I checked it out. So in Highlander here, it's basically around the Kurgan and Connor McLeod. I can't do a good accent, I'm sorry. But these two guys, and apparently it's going to come with some pretty awesome miniatures. I think the sword broke on that guy when I got it, but sorry. And then there's a attacker token, which is neat, and two D12s. I don't know if they're going to use D12s or something else, but you've got 12 hit points. And basically, it's a fight to the death. And both characters have character cards. Essentially, as they take damage, they unlock special abilities that make them more effective at 5 and 9. So as you get weaker, you get some extra things that you can do. And then ultimately, otherwise, you have a deck of attack clash cards, or combat cards. And you will, I think the first hand you have 2, but basically you're going to draft up to 5. So I will take this one, and next player choose his, and blah, 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 all the way up to 5. And so effectively, this is sort of a positional head-to-head combat where the last move you did dictates what your next move can be. So there's a player who's attacking, and as you play cards, they have symbols at the bottom here and symbols at the top. At the top, you're matching these symbols with the other player. So you're going to go head-to-head with your cards and look to see the overlap of those symbols. If there's no overlap, let's say this is the attacking player with the 2 hands, and this is the defending with the head and the foot. The attacker player is not blocked and does damage for each icon. You can have a partial block, but if there's a full block where everything the attacker is doing, the defender blocks, then the attacker's damaged. And it would seem sort of random, except, one, you're visibly drafting what cards people are taking, but more importantly, the last card that you select dictates what move you can do next. So you need to have a move that overlaps with, let me see, so here's an example. So if this was played first, you see that at the bottom, that hand, and then I play this card, that hand overlaps that hand there. So I would be able to use that. If I don't, I take a damage. And you only have 12 hit points, so the damage is a big deal. So basically, the moves you were doing sort of dictate what you're probably going to do. And then each card has a couple special abilities having to do. If the next player uses this symbol, or, if you use this symbol in the last 2 attacks, you get a hit. So a lot of little damage like that, back and forth as you go. Again, leveraging the ability. Not that many cards, and the player's using the same deck. So it other than the special abilities, it doesn't necessarily feel terribly different between the 2 characters, but being the attacker-defender does have a different feel to it. It was a cool little fast duel game. I will say, and I've provided this feedback to Chris, these icons are way too small, and the left and right hands are really similar. So I'm hoping that in the final version, that's cleaned up, because it really should be. The other thing that was sort of a bummer is they don't have names, the moves. Like, they're just the ability and the icons. And it's not like, it doesn't, mechanically it works, but you sort of want, like, devastating blow, and you can make it up in your head, but it's sort of cool when the cards have that extra lift to them, where, like, legs, sweep the legs, or, like, and in this it's not really, and then even sometimes the art doesn't really reflect the icon. So, like, again, I don't know, they might have limited art or things like that. I don't want to take away from the game, but I did feel that it could have been more evocative of the actual clashing. But in terms of the actual clashing, like, I went for the head and you didn't block the head, that piece is in there. A couple people asked me if this was like the CCG. Unfortunately, I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that. Anyway, I'm sure there's more details in the Kickstarter page. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.